What are we doing today? We are reviewing Itaewon Class. Okay, so obviously if you clicked on this video, you should know what it is. It's a show on Netflix, it's a drama on Netflix that came out like around since the beginning of the year. Like they've been releasing episodes, I think. But I don't like to wait for stuff, so I like to wait until the show is over and then wait for all the buzz to die down and then I watch the show because I don't like getting things spoiled for me, but I'm also very impatient. Yeah. So that's why this review is a little late. Also, I'm a little lazy. Procrastination is the name of the game, and I'm top of the leaderboard. I don't mean to flex, but I'm flexing. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about Itaewon Class. The way I figured I would do this is just, I've never really done a review before, so I'm just gonna go by everything that I feel like was important, all the beats that I feel like I want to hit about the show, and really I'm gonna try to hit everything, especially things that I don't really hear in a lot of other reviews. So I'm gonna talk about first of all the characters, obviously, the acting, the OST, which not a lot of people talk about, but I feel like an OST is kind of important in a show. The overarching story, the production, the romance. I really want to talk about the romance. Okay. Okay, so today we're gonna start with the acting. First of all, obviously, the actors are always doing a great job. I want to make it clear that I'm not a critic or anything, but these people are really talented and you can tell that they're having fun with what they're doing, so I really like that. I thought they did a really good job with the acting. So acting, I'll say, very good. Should I give scores? I'm gonna give scores. Acting was an 8 out of 10, just because the bad guys were just bad in a kind of goofy way. Can people really just be that ignorant? Whatever. And then next I'm going to talk about the production. Obviously, the production was amazing, and you could tell that whoever was filming really paid attention to detail, and you could feel the direction and how everything was just working together to look really good and sound really good. And I always felt engaged, not just with the story and with the acting, but with what I was seeing, what I was consuming as well, because sometimes production can kind of get in the way of enjoying a drama. You guys know what I'm talking about. Sometimes the camera will just be a little weird. You're just what's going on? Or the sound will be a little weird. And then it's I can't even focus on the show anymore. So the production was really good, which I really like. So production gets a 10 out of 10 from me. Okay, and then the next thing I want to talk about, I'm going to go through the characters. This is my favorite part. I'm going to go through the characters. I'm going to try and hit all the characters that I felt were important to the story, and then just people that I liked. And then I'm going to try and hit the important story beats and why I liked or why I disliked, each character. So I'm going to start with... you already know who it is. PSJ, the love of my life. Okay, so Park Seo-joon plays Seroyi, and I'm gonna call him Royi for the rest of the show. I don't feel like butchering the character's name. So obviously he's gonna keep coming up, but I'm I'm not sure how to feel about this character, because I understand that he was supposed to play him as like reserved and like, you know, very moral abiding and, you know, very focused and stuff. But, you know, sometimes it also kind of lacked the emotional depth that I was looking for, especially like in the romance areas. But you could tell that he was really giving it his all, especially like towards the beginning and towards the end, especially like in his relationship with his dad. And next I'm going to talk about his dad. Actually, I want to hit that. First of all, I want to say I immediately knew his dad was gonna die, dude. I have the mind of a master of a mind. Like,
see, I'm telling you, I have the mind of a master. I have the mind of a mastermind. What's that? I don't know, but
the minute that he started like teaching him stuff in the first episode, like I was like, wait. They made his dad too sympathetic for him to stay alive any longer than he already was. The fact that he had like got a whole montage about them being happy and just showing him being a good father, I was like, this man's gone. I'm sorry. Your life is over. And it was so sad when he died. Like, I knew it was coming, but, you know, it was still it was really sad. And, you know, that's life, but it was still shitty. Like, he was dealt a bad hand. So, I feel like the actor who did it really well, especially the other scenes in the, like, afterlife limbo place where they were just, like, talking to each other and catching up and stuff. That really... I felt that. So, yeah, I really liked him. Next, I'm going to talk about my next favorite character was Hyun-yi. I loved her character. First of all, I don't think I've watched quite a bit of drama, and I don't think I've ever seen them handle like a sexuality or gender storyline this well, like ever. So it was really refreshing to see that they gave the character the time and the tools to actually tell a proper story and not make like a total joke out of it. So that was like really good to see. I really liked her arc with cooking and Itaewon, and like how she worked hard to get better, and like they really didn't like let her like excuse just not being good enough, and like they let her work harder and harder. And I especially liked the fact that she got to like make the decision for herself to go on the show even after everything that happened and being outed like that. Like, that was really refreshing to see that like they gave that character the time that it deserved. So it was really good to see her. And also I want to say, like, that time jump haircut, what the...
Wait till you see the... No.
God, I don't know who did that to her, but they need to be fired. That shit was ugly, like actually ass, bare ass. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. Like, they should not have done that to her, and I feel so bad that they did. That's rude. Oh, no. Okay, next I'm gonna get into my next favorite character, and I know this might be controversial, but my next favorite character is, hold on. Her character is Seong-gwan. Seong-gwan? I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it. And I just really liked his storyline because it was very simple and even though it was a very simple storyline, he still managed to make me feel for him and just like what he's been going through. And also, I just want to say, like, the man can really fight. Like, he was in the wrong fucking profession. He shouldn't have been in the gang or had been working at Dambam. He should have been working, like, he should have been like a fighter, like an MMA fighter or something, because like what the fuck? Like, he really, like, beat their asses. And I was like, why the fuck are you working at a restaurant? But I guess that's the point, because he never had an opportunity to make his own decisions about where his life was going and blah, 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 blah. But still, if I could fight like that, I don't even want to say what I would do. Okay, now we get to my next favorite character, and I know everyone like keeps gassing her up, but like it was really hard for me to warm up to her, so that's why she's kind of low on the list. So my next favorite character is Yiseo, obviously, and like I don't know, it was just really hard for me to sympathize with her at the beginning, especially. Like, obviously, I was shipping her with Rory because, like, they're cute as hell. And I hate Sua. I hate Sua so much. Gosh. Fuck Sua. All my homies hate Sua. She was just annoying. So, okay. So, I really liked, I didn't like how she handled Hyun-yi at the beginning, even though like she understood her situation, and like I understand that she's supposed to be like show like sociopathic tendencies and be like non-empathetic or non-sympathetic to other people's problems, but at some point it was like, calm down, you know, like you care about Rory, but like you also should, if you care about him, you should understand like why he's attached to these people and why he's been willing to give them a chance for so long. So it was kind of annoying to me to just see her dismissing her and saying like, oh, she needs to be fired and stuff. But I liked like as their relationship developed, they became closer, and like you could see them like defending each other. So that was really good to see. So that kind of got her off in my book. And then I got mad at her again because she freaking, like that whole thing with Tony and the club. First of all, I don't want to say it's because I'm black. And even non-black people would have been offended at that. Like, what the fuck? Okay, just because he's a Korean, that means that he can't go into a club. Like, that's insane. And like the fact that she was just so like willing to, I don't know, like make excuses and say like, oh, those are the rules. Like, obviously those are the rules, but like the rules shouldn't be the rules when they're blatantly racist. So it was kind of hard for me to sympathize. And like, even though they did the whole thing with her like trying to help him find his family and like get citizenship, you know, like it was still just like, you got to be conscious of how you communicate with people and like how you present yourself and how you present what you're trying to say. And I feel like with every situation that she was provided to redeem herself, you know, it was really hard for me to sympathize with her. So that's why she's so low on the list. But she was very charismatic, which I will give to her. She was very like unique as a character in a drama that like, you know, she was interesting to watch, which is why she's so high on the list. But she was not like my favorite person. Like I wasn't like, you know, dying for her, you know, but she was interesting to watch, which is why she's kind of like in the middle of the list. Next, I want to talk about freaking Tony and his grandma. Okay, I hate this trope of like freaking just the freaking most random people meeting and just knowing each other in the most specific ways. Like, how is it that this old woman that was freaking beating people up in the neighborhood is the grandma of the black guy? And then, oh wait, she's also a freaking chaebol. She also has a shit ton of money that she can just throw around however she feels like it. Isn't that just convenient? Isn't that just a little bit too convenient? You know? So, I don't really like that trope at all. But it was funny to see. It was funny to me just because he was black. Like, in any other situation, I would have been like, okay, here we go again. Like, You know what? He's black, so it's funny. But I really liked his character. I liked what they did with the whole, like, why'd you think I'd speak English thing? And, like, he's like, I speak French. Like, the fuck am I supposed to do with French? Okay? But I really like that. That's why they're kind of in the middle of my list, because I hate that trope, but I also really like how they handled it in this show. Okay. And then next, I'm going to talk about the villains, because I feel like the villains in this story, even though they were a bit like comical and like, I don't know, over exaggerated, were still, you know, like essential. And like, I actually felt for certain people in this situation. So I'm gonna talk about like the main bad guy first, Gyun-won. First of all, I say again, I say it once, I say it twice. I never want to be rich, because it seems like, you know, being rich just distracts you from making sense, from from having a brain. Like, in anything except money, I feel like being rich just ruins your life. Let me know if I'm wrong about that, but like, that's the way it feels. So I really liked his story arc, like towards the beginning of the show, and like the fact that he's not just like evil for no reason, you know, and like he's not just like insane. Like, you can see the path that he took to get to where he was, with how his father treated him and the trauma from killing Royu's father. The scene where his dad forced him to like kill the chicken was really like, I could see why that would traumatize somebody long term. I understand. I get it. But, you know, it was good to see the path that he took, you know, just from being like a spoiled little rich kid to being like a full-on just like psychopath. So that was good to see. Next, I want to talk about freaking his little brother, Gyun-soo. First of all, I don't know how to feel about him, because I hate people like that. Like, I don't know. He just seemed very like cowardly and very like kind in a selfish way, where like it feels like he was doing things. I mean, he wasn't raised to know any better, but it feels like every decision that he was making, even though it seemed like it was in other people's best interest, was in his best interest. Like him, I don't know, like his whole relationship with like Yiseo, and like her, obviously she was joking when she said that she would date you if you were the CEO of the company. When has she ever like indicated that she was interested in money or power up until this moment? And you know that she's in love with someone else. Like, come on, that was never gonna happen. So it was just really frustrating to see him continuously pine for her and like leave Dambam just so he could get her. Like, obviously that was never gonna work. Like, she hates you. Your brother killed the father of the man that she's in love with. Obviously there is no relationship there. There was never going to be any relationship there. So the fact that he kept excusing in his mind all the decisions that he was making because he thought that eventually he would get to be in a relationship with her was baffling to me. It was just, I was confused. Why are you so confusing? But it was just, I didn't like that. And then him outing Hyun-yi was inexcusable. Like, actually, that was unnecessary and just underhanded in the worst way. And I did not expect that from him. I did not think he would stoop that low, but I guess, you know, that's just human nature or whatever. But it's still, it was sad to see that he was willing to go that far just to, you know, like, help or like aid his relationship with her. And like, even in the scope of that, like, everything he did seems even more selfish. Like, he outed her so that he could like do good in the company, so that he could end up with Yiseo. Like, why would you do that? You know, like, what? So that was really upsetting for me, just to see him like devolve like that. And I know they tried to redeem him, and like he confessed what he did, and like they like punch him and like beat him up, but like that was a really fucked up thing to do. And I don't know, if you're willing to go that far for someone that you know you have no chance with, it's like, at what point would you be willing to stop? So, you know, like the fact that she like hugged him at the end, and like everybody was trying to like, you know, like make up, it was like, I don't know, you know, but it's a drama, and you gotta tie everything up. You gotta tie the boot nice and neatly, or they'll kill you. Okay, and then the next big bad guy that I want to get to is obviously like their dad. What's his name? Daehee. Yeah, so I want to talk about him just because I feel like there was more to explore with the character, just in terms of where he started from, because they kept on talking about how he started the company to feed his family, but I didn't really feel like that was true. And I feel like maybe if they had shown like his de-evolution, or like him kind of, I don't know, stepping away from the path of like his original goal, like it would have made more sense. But you know, like he's a bad guy, and they were just trying to show, you know, what money can do to people, which I respect. You know, capitalism is poison, so you know, I get it. But you know, I feel like there was more that could have been done with the character. And first of all, also he needed to lie down. Like, they were telling this man that he had cancer, and he was just sitting on that freaking couch making calls like all day, every day. Like, that's the reason you're dying, because like you won't take a break. Take a minute. So I don't know. I feel like that was really interesting, what they did with this character. And then lastly, this character, I just feel like I want to talk about it then, because I really like their arc. The accountant guy, hold on, let me check his name. Okay, his name is Hojin. I really liked his arc, just in terms of like him growing as a person, and like that moment where he's like walking past the bully, or like Yeonwon on the street, and like he doesn't even recognize him. I feel like that was really powerful, just in terms of like, you know, holding on to revenge, and like holding on to these ideas of people around you, and like the people who hurt you. Like it's really only hurting yourself. So it was really just good to see him like understand that the reason for doing this, and like be able to move on in a healthy way. Like that was really good to see. So I just really love that. Oh yeah, characters get 8 out of 10. I don't know. Oh, I forgot to talk about the person that I hated most on this show. First of all, I understand self-preservation, okay? I genuinely understand self-preservation. But she was so self-preservative that it started to feel like actually annoying, and that she was just using it as an excuse to be a bad person. First of all, in her relationship with freaking Roy, like it was actually so annoying that he kept on making excuses for her, and like the fact that she kept on like going back and forth on whether she could tell him like how she feels, you know? Like you can't be mad that like someone else is swooping in if you were like taking advantage of your relationship with him and like just waiting for everything to work itself out. Like this man is not like your caretaker, and just because he says that like he'll fix everything, like nothing is 100%. Just because he said like, oh, I'll beat the other company, like that doesn't mean that like you can wait all this time. Like people change, situations change, And like you making excuses and being like, oh, like the way I grew up means that like I have to look out for myself and I have to make sure that like I'm okay at the end of all of it. That doesn't mean that you get to be like a bad person. And the fact that like every step that she was taking, like even though you could tell that she felt bad about it, it was still like, if you feel bad, why are you doing it in the first place, you know? And like for me, especially the thing that really kind of upset me, especially like the first and second episode, was when the company like offers to pay for her college and stuff, and she says tuition is already taken care of, and they're like, you will need other stuff. And it's like, if you're so self-preservative and you're so like morally like grounded, why are you so willing to take money from these people who killed the only person or covered up the murder of the only person who ever like truly looked out for you? Like, I know it wasn't an easy decision to make, and like she has a hard background, but it was really sad to see how quickly she just, you know, gave in and was willing to just stand by and let these horrible things happen for decades after the original incident. So, you know, that kind of disappointed me. And I just hated, you know, her relationship with Roy, but I'll get into that like in the romance section. Yeah, but overall, characters get, let me say 7.8 out of 10. It would have been 8 if not for Sue. Now I'm going to talk about the OST. Ooh, okay. For me personally, I feel like an OST can make or break a show, because once you've heard one, you've heard them all. So sometimes like I hear one and I'm like, wow, that's a really good OST, and like even though they're playing it over and over and over, it still like feels different every time. That's when you know like an OST is good. But with this one, I don't know, nothing really stood out to me. I didn't really like the opening, you know, it was just like okay. Is that, are we done? So the OST gets 4 out of 10. You know what show has a really good OST? Encounter. Watch Encounter. Encounter gang. And then next I want to talk about the overarching story. First of all, it was very like satisfying to see, but for me it was like everything was just too easy for the main character, for like the hero and like all his friends and stuff. And like, I don't know, do businesses grow that fast? Maybe they were working really hard, and maybe she really does have clout on social media, but like, what? Like, these people had a building, like this big ass building, and were making so much money after like a year, like off of this restaurant. You know, what do I know? I'm not a business person, but like it all just felt too easy. And like freaking the destruction of like Janga, like I understand that like public image is important to a company, but I don't think it would be that easy for a company to fall apart, especially if it is as successful as they were saying, that like it's the #1 company like in Korea. Like, would it be that easy to destroy a company like that just off of public image alone? You know what, let me know, because I'm not smart. But it does not seem like it would be that easy. Okay, and then next, the revenge plot, like overall just seemed like really kind of, I don't know, derivative, and it was just weird, like the whole character turn of like him just seeming clueless the whole time, and then like it turns out he's been talking to like the vice president, and like she's like into it, and like they're gonna like sell shares, and like it's just complicated in a way that like I didn't even want to think about, and it was like what? So like that was a little weird for me. But I like that he realized that, you know, it wasn't about revenge at the end, because, you know, like that's what it's about. Revenge is poison. You gotta let stuff go. You know, the universe will fix it. No. And then one thing I will say is that like what I wanted more of was like towards the beginning with the Dambam crew, like when they were just like in the restaurant and still figuring stuff out, like at the beginning, I feel like it would have been more fulfilling to see more of that relationship with the whole squad. Like, you know, like obviously we saw them going out to eat and like hanging out and like figuring out the name of the company, which was really cute. But I feel like we should have seen more of their relationships like with each other and seen them interact in more personal ways. You know, especially with the time jumps, because I feel like the time jumps really. But wait, no. I'll get into the time jumps. So yeah, I just wanted more of that crew. But overall, I feel like the overarching story was pretty solid for a drama. And I'm gonna say the overarching story gets a 8.7 out of 10. Yeah. Okay. Next, I want to talk about the romance. I want to flip a table. Okay. The first love they with Sua was cute at first. Okay, the relationship was cute at first, but his determination to hold on to this relationship was concerning at certain points. It was kind of annoying, and it just like bothered me. Mostly because I hated her, but also because it was getting kind of old, you know. It was good to see him develop a relationship with her, and like it was okay, but I feel like at some points it felt like his caring for her and his love for her highlighted the flaws in his character, like his naivete and his willingness to just like let people do what they want and like excuse it because they were looking out for their own like best interest. So I did not like his and Sua's relationship at all, and she was definitely using him as a crutch to like lean on when she was like confused, which I didn't like either. So the relationship with them, even though it was cute at first, it made me start to hate her and disrespect him. So I did not like that aspect of the romance. And then with Yi Seo, I feel like that was really cool, but then it was like her character started to get lost in the romance. Like the charm that she brought towards the beginning kind of got lost, like the more that she got into their relationship. Like I feel like after the time jump, there was just something there that like I had lost all my intrigue for the relationship, even though I still wanted to see them get together. So, you know, I would say like even though the relationship was good, the way that they dealt with it and like the way that like she kind of persisted for so long doesn't really align with how they introduced her character, so I didn't really like that. Also, like the location manager for this show deserves like all the props because they really made the city look really amazing and just like intense, and like I want to go to Itaewon. Like I'll pull up, like give me some fried chicken. And then so I feel like the romance wasn't like the best part of the show. So the romance gets a 6 out of 10. I don't know. You know a show that has good romance? Encounter. If y'all can't tell, I also recently watched Encounter. The writing, I feel like, I want to say I did not read the webtoon, so I don't know anything about that, but I want to say along with the show, I think the writer did a pretty good job with resolving certain character conflicts and developing character arcs and stuff. Like it was really ooh, puberty. Puberty. But it was really good to see it was really good to see certain characters hit certain beats, especially with like the Dan Bam crew and like the emotional storytelling that the writer did with that. The writers, I don't know. But that was really good. The problems that I do have with the story come along with how convenient everything was, but you know, I have that issue with all the dramas that I watch, with just how easy everything seems for the characters. But another issue that I had was with the time jumps. I don't mind time jumps, especially like towards the end of a show, but like the fact that they did like, was it like 3 years or something? What was the last time jump? But like, I feel that it really did take away a lot of the speed and like the heat from the story, because it was really hard for me to, I don't know, like just like ignore like all the time that had passed, and like, you know, like a lot happens in that time, but like people change in that time. So, you know, time jumps for me, it's like, okay, 1 is fine, but like 1 time jump, 2 time jumps, 3 time jumps, like slow the fuck down, like take a minute. Please. Please stop. So for me, I would say those are my issues with the writing, but overall the writing is pretty good. So for me, the writing gets a 6. The writing gets a 9. No, the writing gets an 8.5 out of 10. So I really had fun with this show. Itaewon Class, it was really, you know, action driven, and like it never, you know, slowed down. You know, I will give it that. I never felt bored while watching this show. I never felt like I could, you know, take breaks from watching the show. It was just like something that I was focused on like while I was watching it. So I definitely did have fun with this movie. This drama. Honestly, I have fun with every drama that Park So June is in, you know, like, you know, so that's it. Periodically, anything that he's in, I will watch. I will watch this man eat anything, just like bread. You said you just want to sit. I'll watch. So, yeah, I had a lot of fun with this drama. The story was good. The characters were good, and yeah, that's it. That's my review of Itaewon Class. I don't know. No one asked me to do this, so I don't know why I did. But I want to talk about dramas, so and I know there's a lot of people who want to talk about dramas too. So if you have anything to say, just let me know in the comments below. I will talk to you because I have no one else to talk to. So let me know in the comments, or you know, hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. They're both in my bio. So, and subscribe if you feel like, you know, I won't hold you. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, but you know, yeah. All right, that's my review of Itaewon Class. Bye, guys.